I just want to play my games. Yeah, you can play God of War on it, but let's be honest here. Do you want to? Like, just think about this. Like, just sit down and think about this. Do you want to play one of the most cinematic games of all time on a bus?
Hey guys, I hope you're all having a great day today, because today we're doing a classic style video on the channel where I just respond to a bad YouTube video, and today's video has to do with a topic that I have talked a lot on this channel about. That is, of course, the Steam Deck and other PC handhelds, which we have seen become more and more popular over the last few years. And, well, what are we talking about when it comes to PC handhelds today? Well, we have a YouTuber who claims that portable gaming is dead, or dying. And just wait until you hear these incredibly pathetic reasons as to why he thinks portable gaming / portability / handheld PCs are dying. Now, I don't usually ask for this near the beginning of a YouTube video because I think it's kinda corny in all honesty, but if you guys could leave a like on this video, it would be greatly appreciated. I need to reach the algorithm, dude! But yeah, the name of the YouTube video we're going to be checking out today is called Portability is Dead. Now, I don't want to waste any more time on the intro, so let's go ahead and get into today's video. Just a quick brain damage warning before we start, of course. Anyway, let's get into it.
Look, we all know what the video is about. This isn't portable. Well, technically it is, but you have to get a whole bag or case for this. Like, I don't want to carry all that.
Wow, you mean like tons of other expensive items out there that you wouldn't want breaking? You might want to get a carrying case for it? To protect it? Who would have thought? And have these dudes ever heard of the idea of this thing called a backpack? Like, yeah, if something's too heavy to carry around in your hands, or too big, which neither of fit the Steam Deck, by the way, you can simply put your Steam Deck in a backpack and take it out when you need to use it. I mean, I don't really get what's so hard about this.
I just want to play my games. Yeah, you can play God of War on it, but let's be honest here. Do you want to? Like, just think about this. Like, just sit down and think about this. Do you want to play one of the most cinematic games of all time on a bus?
Oh boy, how do I even address this argument? Yeah, apparently the only games that exist on Steam Deck to this guy are super cinematic story-focused games where people are talking over the story, so the experience sucks. I mean, talk about cherry-picking, Jesus. It's not like there's tons of games out there that are super casual and are meant to be played in bite-sized amounts of time, and it's not like you could play one of those games on the bus, instead of something where it's very important that you pay attention to the plot so you don't miss pivotal information in regards to the story. Also, in a situation like that, how the fuck is that the Steam Deck's fault that you chose to go in a loud area and play a super story-heavy game where you need to pay attention? That's literally on you, bud.
It's a good console.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is not a console, it's basically a laptop.
But unless you're always outside, is 2 hours of gameplay enough? Like, let's be honest here. If we're gonna play games, you're not gonna sell for two. Obviously, some of you might have different times and schedules, that's all fine. But when you have the chance, the battery, you're not gonna let the battery stop you from playing games? No!
Most people who use a Steam Deck aren't using it to sit down and play for 6 hours straight. Most people are playing it on their 30-minute ride to work on the train, they're playing it on their 1-hour lunch break at work, they're maybe laying down and playing an hour before bed. And if the battery life is genuinely such a big issue to you, then just plug it in and play. I will agree to an extent though that I think the battery life should be a little bit longer, but that's just kind of the trade-off you have to take when it comes to having that certain amount of power in such a small device that's handheld.
You want to play more! I can genuinely see the people who would absolutely love this, and I love it too, but there's a line between it being portable and an inconvenient. The idea of portability is that it's comfortable to go anywhere with. You don't need to play AAA games on the go. Games that are specifically designed to be cinematic and use immersion to attract players are thrown out the window when you're on a bench surrounded by people.
If all you care about is cinematics, go watch a fucking movie.
The game loses all sense of immersion and just becomes, well, a game.
Breaking news, a video game is a video game. More at 12. No, but seriously, just because you can't focus on the story in a crowded area doesn't mean it's a flaw with the Steam Deck, bro.
Obviously, this doesn't apply to every single game, but still, not all games need to be played outside. Did you think the people who made The Last of Us designed the entire game to be experienced on the go? I'm just gonna give you 5 seconds.
What the fuck is this argument, bro? So apparently we shouldn't be enjoying games on our Steam Deck because they never designed the games for a Steam Deck? Who cares? Just play the game where you want. If this guy doesn't enjoy playing AAA games, you know, cinematic games on his Steam Deck, then just don't play those games. Play something else. I don't play big expansive games like Elden Ring on my Steam Deck because I find it's kind of hard to focus on the smaller screen, so instead I play more smaller games or more simple games like Left 4 Dead 2. There's nothing wrong with that.
They made the game so you could experience it to its full potential at home, where the only thing you can focus on is the story.
Yeah, completely forget about the other part of the game that, you know, makes up the idea of a video game in the first place, called the gameplay. But then again, okay, the game wasn't designed for the Steam Deck. What's wrong with people playing on the Steam Deck anyway? What's wrong with somebody going into work and taking out their Steam Deck on their 30-minute lunch break, putting on their headphones, and continuing their story that they left off at home on Red Dead Redemption 2? Like, this guy genuinely wants everyone to enjoy gaming the same way he does, and he cannot stand the idea of a device existing that allows people to play games in ways where they weren't really intended to be played. Which, I mean, even that statement's debatable because of gaming laptops, but he just hates the idea of a device existing that allows gaming to be more flexible for people who might be on tight schedules and shit. Like, dude, the entirety of gaming does not revolve around you. I hate to break it to you.
That's not to say that there are games that I would love to play on the go, like Slime Rancher, Blueprints, or even Hades, because they're not focused on giving you an experience.
I have a sneaking suspicion this guy is a hardcore Sony fanboy because he just cannot fathom the idea of games being experiences without story shoved down your throat every single 5 minutes. But yeah, you listed out some games that are great fits for the Steam Deck, so why not stick to those games when you're in a crowded area where you don't really have to focus on any story? Problem solved, dude.
Well, yes, they're giving an experience, but what I mean is that they don't need a lot of brain power to, like, oh, I have to just sit and just immerse myself in the world and the story. No, they're just focused on having fun. You're just playing the game just like, oh, I'm having so much fun. That's the point. That's the point. Not to say that these AAA games aren't fun. Well, some of them, but like, we're not gonna talk about those. But still, they're constrained on what they can offer when you're outside affected by external factors. Literally, the best example for this is the Nintendo Switch. The reason the Nintendo Switch sold so well was because it was not only portable, but it also can be played on your TV. Their exclusive games took into account that it could be played on the go. You can play Super Mario Odyssey anywhere you want because it doesn't need a lot of brain power to like enjoy the game. Like, there is a story, but like, you're not playing Super Mario Odyssey because of the story. Let's be honest here, you're just playing to have fun.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing is, all of those Nintendo Switch games that you just quote-unquote play to have fun, you can play on your Steam Deck as well, but of course you won't bring that up. In fact, you can play Nintendo games from any generation on your Steam Deck.
A lot of people don't consider the Nintendo Switch to be a new-gen console because of how weak it is, and my response to that is, okay, like, sure, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Nintendo Switch at this moment, where the Switch 2 is out, is not a new-gen console. That should be pretty obvious.
Have you played any of their games? Like, I'm sorry you can't play Red Dead Redemption 2 on it, but let's be honest here, it defeats the whole purpose of the Switch. The best games on the Switch aren't realistic AAA games.
It's almost like the same goes for the Steam Deck, but because there's big AAA games on Steam, for some reason you think those are the only games that can be played on the Steam Deck. You only bring up cinematic games where you have to focus on story. And, you know, apparently that's a big own against the Steam Deck, even though you can play tons of games just like Nintendo Switch games where they're cartoony and very fun to play on the go on your Steam Deck. including all of Nintendo's games themselves. But at least the Steam Deck has the option to play Red Dead 2 and God of War if you really wanted to, even though those games weren't really designed for you to play on the go. This dude is unironically thinking that, more options, the options to play things like God of War and Red Dead Redemption is a bad thing, because he can't get immersed on the small screen on the go.
When you have a game like Breath of the Wild, it's evidence that graphics are not the only thing that makes a game good.
That's awful ironic coming from the same guy that was gushing over graphics earlier and was stating that games weren't even worth playing on the Steam Deck because they weren't as cinematic. But I really don't have much else to say. The rest of the video he just kinda gushes on about the Switch Lite, and I don't care to go over that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and I'm out.